Assalamu alaikum guys, welcome to chapter 9.5. Today's lecture is extremely easy. I know that you've done this probably in 5th grade, so it should be no problem, but the only thing is that you do have to follow instructions. So today you are learning to find the area of a rectangle and a square. However, the instructions are that you are to write an equation and then you are also to determine the area. So don't just, calculate and give me an answer, because half of your answer is going to be the equation itself. So let's say, for example, my first example, I have a rectangle. Now the length is 4.3 centimeters and then the width is 2.5 centimeters. Okay, so first thing I want you to do is area is equal to length times width. Learn how to use your formulas, okay? Then area is equal to the length is 4.3 centimeters. So 4.3 centimeters. And then the width is 2.5 centimeters, which is the measurement that I have over here on the left-hand side. So 2.5 and close the parentheses. So your first part of your answer is the equation. The second part, go ahead and do the math on the side on a extra piece of paper and find the area. So if you go ahead and multiply 4.3 times 2.25, remember you go back to when we multiply decimals, drop the decimal, multiply 43 times 25, and then slide the decimal twice to the left. So after you multiply 4.3 times 2.25, you should get 10.75, or 10 and 75 hundredths. Don't forget that we're dealing with centimeters, and anytime that you are talking about area, the unit is squared. Okay? It's very simple. Just show me the math. The next one, we've got another rectangle. It's 3 2/3 yard, and then the width is 1.5 yards. So again, start with a basic formula. Area is equal to length times width, and then go ahead and substitute your values. Area is equal to 3 2/3 times 1.5 yards. Now you can put both in parentheses or only, as I did in the previous one, the second one parentheses, up to you. Now go ahead, remember when you're multiplying fractions, don't change it to decimal form. A lot of kids tend to want to change it to decimal form because they think it's just so much easier. At the end of the day, remember, if it starts with a decimal, answer in decimal form. If it starts with a fraction, go ahead and answer in fraction form. So first thing we need to do, go back to rules of multiplication of fractions. Everything should be in fraction form. So 3 times 3, which is the whole of 3 times the denominator of 3 is 9, plus 2 is going to be 11 over 3. All right. And then the second one, 1.5 is 1 times 2 plus 1, which is 3/2. Now remember, you can apply the cross simplification if possible. Obviously, the 3 divided by 3 cancels each other out, because at the end, both of them are divisible by 3, so this becomes a 1, and this also becomes a 1. So now you have 11 over 1 times 1 over 2. So 11 times 1 is obviously 11. 1 times 2 is 2. And then go ahead and simplify that. Always answer in simplest form. So 11/2 is the same thing as 5.5. Now, what are the units that we're using? We're using yards. So yards squared. So one of your answers is the equation. The other answer is your final answer. Okay? So let's go ahead and do now the same thing, only we're doing it with squares. Now the formula for squares just is a little bit slightly different, because remember that you're multiplying side times side. So let's say, for example, you have a square and the square is 2.5 inches, 2.5 inches. So area of a square is area and then side squared. So you're going to take the side, you're going to multiply it by itself twice. So area is equal to 2.5 squared. Okay? Now, what does 2.5 squared mean? It means 2.5 times 2.5. So, first of all, this is your original equation. The second step, you're starting to work it out. So go ahead and do your math. 2.5 times 2.5 is going to be 6.25, or 6 and 25 hundredths. We're talking about inches. We're talking about area. So therefore, it's inches squared. So your second answer is going to be the final answer. Okay? I'm more than sure that you're finding it pretty easy. So inshallah, nobody should have a problem. All right, well, how else can we see this problem? Let's say that we have another square and it's 7/9 meters and 7/9 meters, okay? Basic formula, area is equal to side squared. Area is equal to 7/9 squared. So this is your first answer. And then what does 7/9 squared mean? It basically means 7/9 times 7/9, and then go ahead and do the math. Numerator times numerator. 7 times 7 is 49, and then 9 times 9 is 81. And since 7/9 is a prime fraction, it cannot be reduced anymore. Your final answer is 49/81. Now we're talking about meters. Don't forget that it's meters squared. Second answer is area is equal to 49/81 meters squared. Now you will also apply this to a real world problem. So I've got a real world problem, and let's say, for example, you have a rectangular patio, and they're telling you that you're going to go ahead and build a square concrete table. So sometimes people build patios, right? And they'll put a table right in the middle. This one's going to be concrete, so it's going to be fixed. And it's going to be in the form of a square, and the whole base and the tabletop is just going to be one big cube. And it's in the shape, obviously, the square of a square. The tabletop is in the shape of a square, so it's taking up the floor as well. So how much area is left for the floor? You know, sometimes people have to calculate how much paint am I going to need, or how much tile am I going to need. So they want to find out how much area is going to be left if you put a square or a cube, let's say a cubic table, on the floor, right? So the whole patio itself is 15 by 9, okay? And then the square table, or the cubic table that's just going to be on the floor, is a 3 by 3. So then go ahead, area is equal to the rectangular area minus the square. And then the formulas that you're using are length times width minus side squared. Remember, because we want to know how much is left over. So on our length times width, it's a 15 by 9. And then on our table itself is going to be 3 feet, which is 3 squared in this case. So if you go ahead and multiply 15 times 9, you should get 135. So 135, this is before the table is put on. And then what is 3 squared? 3 squared means 3 times 3, which is 9. So 135 minus 9 is equal to 126. So final answer, you're going to have 126 square feet, we're talking about feet, of flooring left. So inshallah you found this lecture easy. That's as simple as it is. And I'm more than sure that if you start working on your homework today, you should have no reason not to finish it within 20 to 25 minutes max, inshallah. If you have any questions, come to class and we will answer any concerns that you have. Assalamu alaikum, guys.